Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to draw the front and the back of the stuff box. So, of course, the first thing we have to do is create the new document. Create document. We'll call this stuff box front back. And it's front back because both the front and the back are identical to each other. So we have a new drawing starting. And we're going to go to sketch. We're going to pick front. We're going to go normal to the front. And I'm going to press P on the keyboard, get rid of all those extra planes that I don't like to draw with. I'm going to draw a center point rectangle. And I'm going to come over here. And so I just sketched that rectangle. There's no size yet. So now we go to dimension and click the top line. We want that to be 7 inches. And we want it to be 3.5 inches tall, 3.5. And then we're going to give it thickness. So I like to go to isometric, go to extrude, and we're going to do 3/8 of an inch, 0.375. So there's the beginnings of our side. Now we have to add our rabbit and our dados. So we're going to start a new sketch. We're going to pick this surface as our sketch plane. Right click. Okay, let's just go over here. Normal to the front plane. What I was trying to do there was go here, view normal to sketch plane, but I couldn't see it with this box in the way. So now I'm going to draw the rabbits. I'm going to do that with a corner rectangle. So I'm starting in that corner, drawing a new rectangle, and I'm going from the top line all the way to the bottom line, anchored at a corner. Same thing over here. I'm going to do both at the same time. Now we have to define them. We have to dimension them. So I'm going to click that top line. We want that to be the same thickness as our material. So we're 0.375, 3/8 of an inch wide. Same thing over here. And remember, it doesn't matter where you put those dimensions. Doesn't matter at all. So we'll go over here, 0.375. Now we're cutting away material. So I'm going to go to the isometric view. I'm going to go to extrude. And notice the default here is to add material. We don't want to add material. We want to remove material. So I'm going to click remove right there. And then we want to go half the thickness of the material. So half that thickness is 3/16 of an inch. I don't remember what the decimal is for 3/16, so I'm typing it in as a decimal, and Onshape will accept that. And now we have our rabbits. One more step for this side. We need to do across the bottom here, we have to do a dado, which is basically just a groove. And we're going to click here. That's our sketch plane. We're going to go normal to the sketch plane. Going to do another corner rectangle. And I'm going from this edge to this. Let's see, it didn't. Okay, hang on. Now I'm in the corner rectangle command. Click there. Okay, we have to define that. So we're going to make that 1/4 of an inch wide because that's the thickness of our bottom piece of wood. And the length is determined by this line and this line. So whatever that is, that's what that's going to be, as long as you anchor to these lines. Now I have to give it a location. So from the bottom line of the rabbet to the bottom of the edge of the box, we're going to go 1/4 of an inch. You could change that. It doesn't have to be 1/4 of an inch. That's just what I'm doing. And so then go to isometric again. You don't have to go to the isometric. That's just my preference in drawing. Go back to extrude. Okay, again, we're removing material, and we're going 3/16 of an inch again. 3/16, enter, check mark. And now if we go back to our front, okay, you can kind of see we've got our dado here. That's the groove that the bottom of the box is going to fit into. And on both edges, we have the rabbets. So that's the joinery that we're using for this project. So there's our isometric. And then the next step would be to draw the right side and left side of the box. So I'm going to stop there and start a new drawing. Okay, so we're back in Onshape now, and I'm going to start a new drawing, and this drawing is going to be the right side and the left side of the box. So we're going to call this StuffBox. Right, whoops, right, left. And I'm going to start a sketch. I'm going to pick the right plane, and we're going to go normal to that plane. And we're going to hide all the planes, hide all planes. And then we're going to start with a center point rectangle again. So we sketch that, dimension it. Okay, our height or our width is still 3.5. And our length is 4 5/8, 0.625. Okay, now we're getting all these blue lines, and that's because it's not defined in 3D space. So when I started drawing this rectangle, I didn't have the center of the rectangle on the origin. You can get away with that, but it's better if everything is fully defined. So I'm just going to change that dimension and call it 0. Now all my lines are black. I'm fully defined. So I can extrude. Now in the past, I've always gone over here and I've gone to isometric. This time, I'm just going to extrude from right here. So if I go to extrude, we want 3/8 of an inch again, 0.375. Okay, and then if I just want to make sure that that worked, okay, there's my extrusion. Now we have to put the, we don't have rabbits on this, but we have to put the dado in. So I'm going to start a new sketch. I'm going to click on this surface for my sketch plane. Right click, view normal to the sketch plane. I'm going to go back to the corner rectangle, and this rabbit has to match, or I'm sorry, not rabbit. This dado has to match the other dado that we put in the front and the back. So we're going to go here. We make it 1/4 of an inch because that's the thickness of the wood we're using for the bottom of the box. and then it has to be located the same way. So again, I'm going from the bottom line there to the bottom of the rectangle, and we made that 1/4 of an inch in the other drawing. And then we're going to extrude that. So extrude, remove, 3/16, 3/16, enter, and check. And that's it. The right side, left side of the box, that's done now. We don't need anything else there. All right, so I'm back in Onshape again. I'm going to create the bottom of the box now. So create a new document, and we'll call this bottom. And we're going to start a new sketch. And this time we're going to use the top sketch plane. We're going to go normal to that sketch plane, type P, get rid of all the planes. We're going to do a center point rectangle. And now I can't remember what the dimensions for the bottom of the box are. So I'm going to go back to here, the bottom. Okay, so we're 4 5/8 by 6 5/8 and 1/4 of an inch thick. 4 5/8, 6 5/8. So this would be our 6 5/8. 6.625 and 4.625. And then we're going to extrude that. And we want it to be 1/4 of an inch thick. And then if we go back to our isometric, there it is. That's it. That's all we need to do in the bottom of the box. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a folder. So create folder. I have all these parts for this box. So I'm going to create a StuffBox folder. And you'll see I've done this a couple times. There's one here, there's one here. This is the new one. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to right click here on the bottom of the box, and I'm going to click move to, and I'm going to move it to that folder. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other two parts. Move to StuffBox folder, move here. There's my front and back, right click, move to StuffBox folder, move here. And so when I click on that folder, now I have all the parts for that object. I have not drawn, I've not done the assembly yet. I haven't done the top yet. We're going to wait and do the top a little bit later on. So when I get back on here, the next thing I'm going to do is do the assembly to put all these box parts together. I'm back on my Onshape screen. Here's the bottom of the box, my right and my left side, my front and my back. I'm going to start an assembly now. So I'm going to open the bottom of the box. And I'm going to click here on assembly. And you can see there's nothing there, but I have a different menu now. I have my assembly menu. So we'll get into some of these commands here in just a second. So the first thing I have to do is insert a part. I want to insert the bottom. So I'm going to click that, then click the green check. So there's the bottom of the box. I'm going to use my mouse wheel to get that a little smaller. And next we have to insert a part. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the right and the left side in. So we do insert. I have to look for those things. So I have to go to other documents, my Onshape, StuffBox folder, and we want the right and the left. Now you have to create a new version of that drawing. So I just click this, and you can name it if you want to. I usually just leave it the way it is and then create. And there's my preview of that part. So I click that and it pops in there. Now at this point I can slide that around. So left click and drag, I can move that around. And what we have to do is we have to mate these parts together. So because we don't have any moving parts in this drawing, this one is going to be a fastened mate. So I'm going to click fastened mate, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to zoom to window, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so I can see it. I'm in the fastened mate. So I'm going to click here and get that icon. That shows the direction that the mate is going to go. So I'm going to click there, mate that part with that part. I want the mating icons to be in the same orientation. If they're turned in a different way, you're not going to get a correct mate. So I'm click there, and I can move this guy out of the way, kind of preview that. It looks right. And then I click check. And then I go to camera and render options and zoom to fit. Okay, so it's waiting for me to see if I want to mate something else, and I don't. That looks right. So we're just going to close that. Now we need to insert a new part. We need another one of these. Remember, we only drew one side for the right and the left side. So I'm going to click right here now, click insert. And we got to get back to that part again. So we're doing the right and the left part again. And so there's my part, but it's turned the wrong way. So I have to be able to rotate that. Right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on that image, and I get this crazy looking icon here. And so if I click this one, if I click the arrow, it slides this way. If I click this one, it slides this way. And then this one will go up and down. Well, I don't need to do that. I need to rotate this thing around. So this piece here, this part of the icon, if I click that, now I can rotate that around, and you can see the numbers are changing. Well, I want to be really precise. I want to rotate that all the way around 180 degrees. So 180, enter. Now it's turned all the way around. Hit escape on the keyboard, and then left click, the icon goes away. Now I can move this around again. And I like to be able to get in there and really zoom in and see it. So I'm going to zoom to window, draw my window, go back to fastened mate. And we're looking for that icon again now. Let's see that icon is turned the wrong way. I need a flat like that. So that's the one I need there. And then I have to mate. And I got to get in. That's going the wrong way. So I'm going to rotate this a little bit. I'm still going the wrong way. Let's try clicking that and see what happens. I think that looks like it works. So we check. All right, we're good. So let's zoom to fit. And now we have our left side, our right side, and our bottom, and they're all mated up together. If we go back to my isometric, we're looking pretty good. So I can red X this, and then I can insert my next part. So insert, other documents. You've seen all this before. StuffBox. Okay, now I want the front and the back. Okay, we have to create a version to use in the assembly. Create. Waiting for the preview. There's my preview. Click that. Click the check. Okay, that one's going in the right direction. So if I right click and drag, I can bring that around. All right, so let's see. That didn't go quite the way I wanted. Let me zoom in here. Zoom to window. And we're doing fastened mate again. Everything here is a fastened mate. So let's see. I want to I'm going to click there and there. And let's zoom to fit. And we can see that's going together just right. So there's the bottom. All right. And then we close that. Go back to isometric. And one more side. So insert again. Other documents. My Onshape. StuffBox folder. Front and back. Bring the front in. Okay, and again, we're rotated the wrong way, so we have to do what we did with the sides. We have to rotate this around. So I'm going to click right there. Start. Yep, that's the direction I want to go. I want to go 180 degrees. Enter. Escape. Left click. And now we're ready to go. Now I can start bringing this together. So fasten mate. I want that corner right there. And this corner right here. Yep, okay, that didn't work. So that's a good example that didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to click the check mark and get that back out. And we're going to try this again. So I want that corner and that corner. Okay, that worked. And then check. And then zoom to fit. And red X. And now we're set to go.